Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we unpack the stack of sources you share with us so you can be instantly well-informed.
And today we're doing a deep dive into an idea that feels more relevant now than ever.
It really does. It's this concept that separates, the truly groundbreaking work from just being busy. We're talking about the skill of deep work.
Yeah.
And to really set the stage for why this is so critical, I want to take you back a century. It's 1922. We're near Lake Zurich in Switzerland. And the famous psychiatrist Carl Jung is starting to build this stone retreat. He called it the Tower.
And this wasn't like a vacation home?
Not at all. It was a fortress he designed specifically to eliminate distraction.
You have to understand the context here. I mean, this is foundational. Jung was in one of the most intellectual demanding periods of his entire life.
Right, he just published Psychological Type.
Exactly. He was in the trenches trying to solidify his own ideas, his own analytical psychology against what Sigmund Freud was putting out there.
A huge intellectual battle.
It was. So he needed this immense, sustained mental clarity to produce work that would, completely redefine his field.
And he literally built that clarity into the walls. The tower was deliberately primitive, no electricity.
Just oil lamps.
Just oil lamps. He didn't just hope he would focus. He engineered it. He built a private office, kept the key on him at all times, and nobody was allowed in without his permission.
He knew he had to defend his focus.
He had to.
And that defense was built into his routine. It was a ritual. He'd wake up at 7, have this big breakfast, and then lock himself away for 2 hours.
2 hours of completely undistracted writing.
And that right there is exactly what we mean when we talk about deep work. It's those professional activities you do in a state of pure distraction-free concentration.
Pushing your brain to its limits.
Pushing your cognitive capabilities to create something new, something valuable.
And the central argument we're pulling from the sources, what they call the deep work hypothesis, is that this ability is becoming incredibly rare.
Right. At the exact same time, it's becoming more and more valuable in our economy.
It's a huge mismatch.
It's a classic supply and demand problem. If you can cultivate this skill now, you are setting yourself up for, an outsized career trajectory.
Okay, so let's drill down into that value, because it sounds like we're talking about more than just being a productive employee. This is almost a competitive advantage.
It's been called the superpower of the 21st century.
So why now? Why is deep work the key to economic success today?
Well, it ties directly into this big economic shift. An economist named Sherwin Rosen called them winner-take-all markets.
Winner-take-all.
Yeah. Rosen's argument was that talent has imperfect substitution. Think about it like this. Listening to 10 okay singers doesn't add up to the experience of hearing one superstar.
Right, it's not cumulative.
It's not.
Yeah.
And in the digital age, technology means we can all access the best of the best instantly. So the rewards just pile up at the very top.
The middle ground is just vanishing. So what does a deep skill actually look like for someone trying to become a superstar in, say, a knowledge field?
It looks like intense technical mastery, something that isn't easy to copy or automate away. A perfect example is the election forecaster Nate Silver.
Okay.
His success isn't just, a gut feeling. It comes from mastering these incredibly complex tools and wrangling massive amounts of data.
The sources get pretty technical here. They talk about data structures. Can you simplify that for us? What kind of focus are we talking about?
We're talking about moving way, way beyond a simple spreadsheet. It means using specialized languages like SQL to issue these really intricate commands.
So not just looking up data.
No, not at all. You're reshaping it. You're creating these complex views from maybe dozens of different tables at once. Or you're using powerful statistical software to run these advanced models that predict outcomes.
And that kind of work, you just can't do that in 5-minute bursts between meetings.
You can't. You need hours of uninterrupted concentration just to hold the architecture of the problem in your head.
You definitely can't build that mental model while you're flipping through your Twitter feed.
Absolutely not. And that's the danger, isn't it? The shallow work is winning the war for our attention.
The data on this is pretty stark.
It is. A McKinsey study from 2012 found the average knowledge worker spends over 60% of their week just on electronic communication and searching the internet.
60%.
And almost 30% of their time is just reading and answering email.
Wow. So the huge majority of our productive time is just reacting.
It's frantic, it's shallow, it's about checking boxes, keeping that inbox at 0.
And here's the part that's actually kind of terrifying.
This is the critical implication. If you spend too much time in that state of frenetic shallowness, you permanently reduce your brain's ability to do deep work.
You're literally damaging your focus muscle.
You are. The journalist Nicholas Carr wrote about this in his book, The Shallows. The brain that's constantly getting these quick informational hits, emails, texts, notifications, it just forgets how to sustain focus. You're chipping away at the very thing you need to produce world-class work.
Which brings us to this huge paradox, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If deep work is so valuable, so essential for success in this new economy.
Then why is everything about modern business actively working against it?
Exactly. We've got this huge demand for deep thinking, but our work environments seem custom-built for distraction.
It's rampant. Just look at the architecture of a modern office, open office plans.
Which are supposed to help collaboration.
Right, but study after study shows they just lead to massive distraction and, ironically, less face-to-face interaction. Or think about instant messaging.
The expectation of an immediate response.
Yes. The efficient employee is the one who can jump from writing code to a chat window and back again in seconds. But that leaves behind what they call deep attention residue.
And the pressure goes beyond the office, too. Even serious professionals, like writers for the New York Times, feel like they have to keep up this active social media presence.
Interrupting deep, careful thought to join in, as one source put it, the frothy back and forth of online tittering.
So why? Why does this happen?
Well, it seems to come down to two really deep-rooted cultural problems. The first is what we can call the metric black hole.
The metric black hole.
Yeah. It's just objectively hard to measure individual contribution in knowledge work. How do you put a number on the value of one brilliant line of code or an hour of quiet, strategic thinking?
You can't, really.
You can't. So since we can't easily measure the output, we start rewarding a proxy for productivity.
And that proxy is busyness.
Busyness. Constant communication, being instantly responsive, looking very active. It's easy to see, so it gets rewarded.
But the risk there is huge. I mean, if you're rewarding that proxy, you might be killing your company's long-term innovation.
That's it exactly. I might look dedicated answering emails at 9 p.m., but I might have just sacrificed the 1 hour of deep thinking that would have led to a breakthrough. You end the day exhausted, but can't name a single meaningful thing you accomplished.
The system rewards the appearance of work over the actual result.
And the second reason is the principle of least resistance. This culture of connectivity sticks around because, honestly, it's just easier.
Easier than what?
Easier than being structured and intentional. It's easier to just run your day from your inbox, putting out fires as they pop up, than it is to use a thoughtful, scheduled system. I mean, a methodology like David Allen's Getting Things Done, it has a 15-element flowchart just to decide what to do with a new email.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It takes effort. Answering the email takes 2 seconds and gives you a little hit of productivity.
This all leads perfectly into the story of Jason Ben. And this is a story that I think should be a wake-up call for anyone listening.
It should. Ben was a financial consultant, a good job, on paper, but he later admitted that sometimes he'd spend 98% of his day just surfing the web.
98%?
Yes, and when his boss finally gave him a real, cognitively demanding task writing a business plan, he couldn't do it. He couldn't even stay focused long enough to compare 5 different examples online.
His capacity for deep work was just gone.
It had totally evaporated. And his wake-up call was realizing that most of what he did every day could probably be automated by a simple Excel macro. He was a highly paid human router.
Wow.
So he knew he had to learn new, deep skills and fast. He decided to learn how to code. And his method for rebuilding his focus was pretty extreme.
What did he do?
He locked himself in a room. No computer, just textbooks and note cards. Total enforced isolation.
How long would he do that for?
He was regularly clocking 5 or more disconnected hours a day just studying. He was rebuilding that concentration muscle from absolute scratch.
And the result?
The result was immediate. He crushed this notoriously difficult program called Dev Bootcamp and landed a developer job. His salary went from $40,000 to $100,000.
In how long?
Half a year. 6 months.
That is an unbelievable jump. It just shows the raw economic power you get when you stop surfing and start building. His ability to go deep was the only thing that changed.
And that's the critical lesson. Deep work isn't an accident, and you can't just rely on good intentions or willpower.
Because willpower is finite.
Exactly. The research from people like Roy Baumeister shows willpower is like a muscle. It gets tired. If you spend all morning fighting off distractions and then try to tackle a hard problem in the afternoon,
You got nothing left in the tank?
you're depleted, you'll probably fail.
So if willpower isn't the The key has to be minimizing how much you need, building routines and rituals so that focusing becomes almost automatic.
That's it, you reduce the friction, and that's why we see these different philosophies for structuring deep work. On one extreme, you have the monastic approach.
Like the computer scientist Donald Knuth.
The gold standard. He doesn't have a public email. He uses a physical postal address for all his correspondence.
A mailing address.
Yes. And he batches his replies, answering them all about once every 3 months. He's just completely cut himself off from shallow interruptions.
But that's not realistic for most of us.
No, it isn't. Which is why the bimodal approach is probably more useful for people. Adam Grant, the Wharton professor, is a great example.
How does he structure it?
He stacks all his teaching and meetings into one semester. The other semester is dedicated entirely to intense, uninterrupted research.
So he alternates periods of high connectivity, then periods of deep isolation.
Exactly. And even inside that research time, he'll do these 2 to 4 day monastic stretches. He puts on an out-of-office autoresponder that basically says, I'm doing deep work, I'll get back to you later.
So the takeaway isn't one specific method. It's the commitment to a radical, scheduled structure.
That's the key. But that only handles the external stuff. What about the internal damage? How do we retrain our brains after years of shallowness?
But we need training techniques.
We do, because the root of the problem, as researchers like the late Clifford Nass found, is that all this attention switching physically damages the brain's ability to focus. Our brains get addicted to novelty.
So we need, cognitive calisthenics.
We do. And one of the most powerful methods is surprisingly counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You have to embrace boredom.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means you flip the script. Most of us take occasional breaks from focus to check our phones. Instead, you should schedule occasional breaks from distraction to give in to those urges.
Ah, so you schedule your internet time.
You schedule hard, defined internet blocks, and then the time in between those blocks becomes your training ground. When you feel that urge to check your phone because you're bored for a second, you resist it.
You're using that little moment of discomfort as a rep, a workout for your attention muscle.
It becomes a formal session of concentration calisthenics, just by not giving in. The second technique is something called productive meditation.
And this is about using those autopilot moments in the day.
Exactly. Times when you're physically busy but mentally free. Walking, jogging, driving, even taking a shower.
And during that time,
You pick one single, well-defined professional problem and you focus on it intently.
and when your mind wanders, which it will,
Which it will, you just gently but firmly redirect it back to the problem. It's an amazing way to squeeze deep work out of otherwise wasted mental downtime, and it sharpens your focus without you having to lock yourself in a room.
So we've covered the economic case for deep work, the paradox of why it's so rare, and some systems to build it. But the sources also make a bigger point. This isn't just about money.
No, it's about meaning. It ties directly into Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's idea of flow, that state of deep satisfaction you get when you stretch your mind to its absolute limits.
The act of creation itself is fulfilling.
It gives you that sense of craftsmanship, of sacredness, that philosophers argue is essential for finding meaning in our modern world. Creating something excellent is its own reward.
And to leave you with one last thought, maybe the ultimate high-stakes example of what deep work can accomplish: the founding of Microsoft.
The whole creation myth is about Bill Gates and Paul Allen spending 8 brutal, intense weeks hacking together the basic programming language for the Altair computer.
The first personal computer.
And what set them apart wasn't just intelligence, it was focus. Paul Allen described Gates's work as a prodigious feat of concentration.
He said Gates would literally fall asleep on the keyboard.
Right on the keyboard. He'd wake up an hour or two later
He'd just pick up exactly where he left off.
without missing a beat. Allen said Gates was a serial obsessor, while his own mind would flit between different ideas. That focus was the differentiator.
So deep work isn't some high-minded ideal.
It's a pragmatic skill. It's the skill that lets you build an industry-changing, multi-billion-dollar company in just a few weeks. The sources show us that transformative work happens when you collapse on the keyboard, not when you collapse into your inbox.
So the question for you to think about is,
Yeah.
what 8 weeks of focused, industry-changing work is sitting undone in your distraction queue right now?